Bend over to your right. What the f was that? What's up, Bears fans? People want to hear me talk. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of the Nicholas Moreano Show. I'm your host, Nicholas Moreano. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and of course, share this YouTube channel with all of your fellow Bears fans. What's up, everybody? It's NFL Scouting Combine Week. I'm super excited because I'll be down in Indy tomorrow morning. Going to get up early, drive down there, and just hang out, talk to some people that I haven't seen in a while, and just provide a bunch of great content for all of you, not only on this YouTube channel, but of course on the recap. So if you've seen a bunch of my video content lately, a lot of it's going to be with David Kaplan and the recap YouTube channel. So I'll be over there posting a bunch of content, but there'll also be plenty here as well. And thanks to my guys at Windy City Sports Cars that are helping sponsor the content that you're going to see throughout the entirety of the week. So I'm super excited to get down there, get into everything that is involved with the Bears, maybe even some stadium talk if that comes about, but specifically just some of the things that I think need to be answered throughout the week. Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson will speak to the media tomorrow morning. So that's why I'm getting up around 4 a.m. Make sure I have plenty of time, get my surroundings and whereabouts all in order as I'm getting ready to, listen to see what they have to say. And this whole episode pretty, laid back, if you want to say laid back. But I'm just kind of sharing my thoughts of what I want to hear from Ben Johnson, Ryan Poles, what I think needs to be addressed as we go into this really important week for not only all the prospects that are going to try to impress one of these 32 NFL teams so they could be drafted come draft night in Pittsburgh in late April, but also just for the Bears themselves to go into this week, answer some questions to clarify some of the bigger picture questions on this football team so they have a better understanding when it comes to free agency, the draft, and how to approach it. But let's just start off some things that are on my mind. And if you haven't already, I already put a shorter version of what this episode will be on the recap YouTube channel. I put like the top 4 questions that are on my mind, but I'm just going to add on to that list. So if you're seeing this and you saw the recap YouTube short, perfect. Now you're just double informed, but we're going to expand on this. And we'll actually just start with something different, something that when Ryan Poles speaks, I'm going to try, if it's not me, somebody will end up asking this question, but I'm curious if Ryan Poles, the Bears staff, have reached out to the NFL about the 2 third-round compensatory picks that they are, as of now, not getting after Ian Cunningham was promoted to the general manager position for the Atlanta Falcons. Even though he's not the primary football decision maker, as it is in the labels, if you want to say, in the Atlanta Falcons organization, Matt Ryan has said differently and has said differently in public many times now that Ian Cunningham will be making the decisions when it comes to the draft and free agency, things like that. So I'm just curious if, one, Ryan Poles, the Bears have reached out to the NFL to get clarification on this, if they're going to push back on it. Just what's the explanation that they can give? I know Mike Florio at Pro Football Talks already put out a article maybe a week or so ago about what the explanation was from the NFL that they gave to him. But I'm just curious if the Bears have plans to reach out or already have done that. So I think that's something that needs to be addressed because that is 2 third-round draft picks. And I know I was poking fun at some Bears fans when all of that was going down. And, well, look at Ryan Poles' history in the 3rd round. Bayless Jones, Zach Pickens, Krana Magaji. Just poking fun at people. That's all it is. But anytime you can have more draft assets, that's always going to be something that you're going to fight for if there's an opportunity to do so. So I think that needs to be addressed. And this is something that I brought up in the recap YouTube short, but also is something that is, you can expand on it. Just a salary cap situation. What are moves or anticipated moves should we be expecting? And will Ryan Poles provide any clarification? Clarification on it. I think that one of the biggest ones right now, a valid one too, is with Tremaine Edmonds. $15 million you can save in the cap if you cut him. Right. And I just want to know from Ryan Poles, is he somebody that Dennis Allen views right now is an absolute necessity in this defense? And prior to his injury, I mean, this is a guy that was making more plays on the football, had the 4 interceptions, playing, I think, some good ball. But is that somewhere that you can just draft his next replacement? Obviously be a lot cheaper, especially the later you go into the NFL draft, if that's the option that they feel is most viable for them. Or do you sign someone to free agency? But it's just that cap space markers. That's something that, the Bears want to do. And you already saw the Bears released Amen Agbongmamiga to save some cap space, $2 million. So I just expect more moves to just come throughout this week, or at least the talks of those moves in preparing for free agency, having the right cap space to make whatever moves that the Bears want to end up making. So that's just another thing that's on my mind as I'm kind of thinking about bigger picture Bears topics. Another thing, obviously, when you look at the draft or the combine, the draft, the prospects, is just the defensive line as a whole, right? Like how do the Bears want to approach this all important position group in the interior and the edges? Widely talked about as a very deep class on the edges. So is this something that, if you're Ryan Poles, if you're looking at pick number 25, there is more players that you can draft on the edge than there are in the interior. So how does that influence your decision making if you're staying put with number 25? You're not trading it, things like that. You're just staying put with the best player available. So what do you do there? And what is the philosophy on your interior defensive lineman? Something I presented in the Bears recap YouTube short earlier today is like, if you're weighing two different options, of Peter Woods from Clemson or Ohio State's Caden McDonald, two interior defensive linemen, but very different, right? Peter Woods is somebody that I see is more of a penetrator, has that explosiveness, that twitchiness to his game, can get in the backfield. McDonald, not that he doesn't have that, but I think his strengths lie right now more so as a run stopper, which the Bears absolutely need. They need both. They need someone that can really do both. But what do you prioritize right now? I think those are fascinating questions for, and Ryan Poles will obviously not show his hand, but can you give some kind of insight of what is a priority for this Bears defense, especially in the interior defensive line? And then obviously the edges with those pass rushers with a deeper class. Can you afford to maybe go into day 2 to select some of those guys as opposed to, picking somebody with number 25? Not that I would be opposed to it or anything like that. I think there's some quality players that will be at pick number 25 that if you say, hey, the Bears are just drafting Zion Young from Missouri or Akeem Mesidor from Miami, and they decide to do that at pick 25, like, sign me up. And I know there's been some, when you bring up the name Akeem Mesidor, I think the next thing that comes up with him is his age, right? Going to be 25 this year. That's older for a rookie, no doubt about it. But does that mean he's also more pro ready? Does he have enough production just past this last season to signify that you can make that move at 25? Okay, look, I like the comment right here. They can draft McDonald at 25 and second round Zion Young if possible. Man, I think you are reshaping your entire defensive line if you do something like that. I'm sure a lot of Bears fans would sign up for something like that. Another thing to factor in here, sticking with the trenches, how does offensive tackle factor into the Bears' plans and what they want to do? Is that something that they just fill with a stopgap guy in free agency? It could be an option there. If not, do you use one of those top draft picks to get another offensive tackle? You could probably never have too many of them. With Ozzy Trapillo's torn patellar tendon, ruptured patellar tendon, like what is the logical route to take for that position? Because that's not something I think you can really mess around with. But if you feel confident that Trapillo's going to come back healthy and be ready to go, you don't want to punt on him. And I thought he was playing some really good football too after he started and took over for the starting job. Fascinating. Those are, again, more questions. If you're in the comments here, let me know what you're thinking about. We have True Pilgrim 144K. If Proctor is there, I don't see how you can pass him up. Proctor from Alabama. Yeah, no, that's somebody I've seen a lot more buzz and being talked about, maybe potentially for the Bears there. Again, it all depends on, well, you know what? Regardless of who it is and who's available, obviously they're going to have a board set. And what is going to be interesting now that I'm like, I mentioned Ian Cunningham before, but how is Ryan Poles going to approach this draft without his right-hand man? Right? We all saw the 19 football drive where Ian kind of interjected and said you didn't have to really move up. You didn't have to move up to go get Rome. And you remember how that situation played out. The Bears waited, Rome came to them, but Ryan was considering wanting to move up for Rome Odunze. But Ian, being the assistant general manager, just kind of talked him through it and said what he needed to say to not allow that to happen, to give up draft assets for somebody that fell to you. So how does this draft go now? You have Jeff King is now the assistant general manager with Ryan Poles. I think those are things that do matter, and we're going to see it play out in the 2026 NFL draft. But Proctor, yeah, is another guy, offensive tackle. If he fits the intangibles, depending on how the board falls for the Bears, could be a guy that they like. Could be a guy. Here we go. More discussion on Proctor here from Graham Rogers 3937. People think Proctor might be a guard. I'm not drafting a 6'7" guard that Caleb can't see over. Very good point. You definitely don't want to do that. But again, every team's going to evaluate it a little differently. And that's stuff that we won't know, and maybe until never. You never know. True Pilgrim 1-4. Yeah, we lost Ian, got nothing for it. The league really did us dirty. That's something that, like I said earlier, that is something I want to ask Ryan about to see if they're going to talk about the Bears just not getting 2 third-round compensatory draft picks. You can use an additional third rounder in this draft. Why? And next year's draft. Why not? Of course, you're going to take as much swings as you can possibly get. But yeah, it's something that I think does need to get brought up here. Another position that is, another position that does need to get talked about here is safety. The Bears literally don't have safeties under contract right now. So is that something too, where they're looking at someone I'm saying hopefully complement Kevin Byard? That's somebody that I think the Bears want to bring back if it all works out. Compensation wise for Byard, for the Bears, everyone's happy, something like that. And then do you look for Jaquan Brisker's replacement? Because he would feel like the odd man out. If that's the case, I was watching, there's a kid from South Carolina. Hopefully I can find the defensive back that 2026 NFL. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name too. I was just watching him this morning. And if he's available, Is it Kilgore? No. Somebody in the chat will oh, Dylan Thieneman. I see Graham Rogers. Appreciate all the comments, you guys. Don't know how to spell his last name. That's okay. You're close. I think the last name is slightly off, but I did watch Dylan Thieneman. I don't know. Maybe it's just because of his profile, but I'm getting some Harrison Smith type of vibes from him. Maybe that's just me, but I was just watching him move and kind of position versatility. Can play in the box, can play deep. That's somebody that I think would make sense for Dennis Allen's defense to complement whoever is playing the free safety for the Chicago Bears. Man, I am blanking on whoever this cornerback is. Well, let's see. We're going to do some on the fly research here. NFL Combine participants 2026. Once I do that, I'll be able to definitely find him. Well, it depends where they put him because he played corner, but I think he's going to be a safety in the NFL. Here we go. Defensive backs. Ooh, it might be him. South Carolina, Brandon Cisse. No, that's not him. Great. We're going to do a control search, South Carolina. And maybe this person doesn't. There it is. Jalen Kilgore. That is who I was watching this morning. I don't know why I didn't write his name anywhere, but the guy is 6'11", 211 pounds. Had 32. So his stats for 2025: 54 total tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions. Had 5 interceptions in 2024, 1 2023. Playing some corner, but most likely his profile is going to put him at that strong safety position, but it has that position flexibility. 6'1", 211 pounds. He's a big safety, big frame. And there was just a picture of him with Mike Tyson that showed up. Like, I don't know. Look, intriguing prospect. Somebody that I want to talk to when they do the podiums at the NFL scouting combine. So someone I definitely want to talk to, just get a better understanding of and see what he's about, man. I think the Bears will end up looking at a safety in this upcoming draft. Okay, so yeah, it's 6'1", 211 on ESPN, 6 foot 211 on NFL.com. So that's what the combine is also for. Let's be honest. There's a lot of measurements that get out of whack. From pro days, from these all-star games, Senior Bowl, things like that. The NFL scouting combine is going to set all of that straight. So you don't have to worry about, well, how tall is this guy? What's his arm length? What is he? All these things. They'll get it right here. There's no hiding from the NFL. So we'll get that clarified. You know what? We're almost 20 minutes. I said, before I went live, I'm like, I'm going to do a 20-minute show. We're about to be 20 minutes in, and I don't feel like, to be done. So really quickly, let's give some love and a shout out to my guys at Windy City Sports Cards, because like I said at the top of the show, Windy City Sports Cards is helping me out here and, sponsoring the content that you're going to see all throughout the week in Indianapolis. So Windy City Sports Cards, of course, they specialize in buying and selling all things related to Chicago sports. So whether you're a diehard fan of the Bears, Bulls, Cubs, White Sox, or Blackhawks, they've got you covered with an extensive selection of sports memorabilia and collectibles. In addition to the Chicago-focused items, everybody, you already know they offer a vast collection of sports trading cards and memorabilia from your favorite teams and players. So visit their online store to find exactly what you're looking for, or to just simply discover a new favorite. And you can check them out at 312-WindyCitySportsCards.com. That's 312-WindyCitySportsCards.com. And if you haven't already, go give them a follow on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at 312-SportsCards1, at 312-SportsCards1. They give the best giveaways. It's just a great account. If you love Chicago sports and a brand that identifies with Chicago and everything that comes with it, 312 Sports Cards 1 is going to be a good account for you. Maybe you'll be a next winner in one of their giveaways. So check them out. Also, want to give a quick shout out here too. Seeing a super chat in the chat here from Alex, the Bears fan, 1989, $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Alex. Really hoping for Mesidor. I like Mesidor. I really like Mesidor. And to be fair, I probably should go back and watch more of his tape from previous seasons, but you are for what is your latest tape. I like to think that. And I do like what Mesidor can bring to the table alongside or opposite of Montez Sweat, Austin Booker. You get Shamar Turner. What did I think in one of the videos I said Shamar Stewart? No, wait. What did I say? I forget. I know I accidentally mixed him up, but to be fair, Shamar Turner, once he went down after the Ravens game, I mean, there wasn't a lot of talk of him. But Shamar Turner will be back in the mix. Dio Dangbo, Grady Jarrett, Gervon Dexter Sr. So, yeah, I think I think the Bears just need to be smart. Just add a bunch of defensive linemen. You can never have too many of them, right? Send them out in waves, keep the line fresh, get after the quarterback. It was just too inconsistent last season. Way too inconsistent. And you can't be in the same statistical category as the Cincinnati Bengals when it comes to, I think it's total pressures. It's never, or win rate, whichever metric it was, being in line with the Cincinnati Bengals where Trey Hendrickson really wasn't playing, it ain't a great look. So you don't want that. Speaking of Trey Hendrickson, I think that's also someone. Let's get it. I mean, there's a bunch of storylines to talk about, but what I do love about the NFL Scouting Combine, for people who've never been or don't know what it is, it's far more than just what you're going to see guys running 40s, benching, measuring, the long jump, all these things. It's what happens when you're out and about, mixed with coaches, media members, scouts, things like that in the late night, early mornings. And that happens throughout the entire week. So what the NFL Scouting Combine, it's a marathon. It's long nights, early mornings. And so one of the things you just get is intel, hearing from people, talking with people that know guys like Trey Hendrickson and things like that. So I'm really curious to talk to people about him. I think you got to ask people about Max Crosby. Also, I'm curious to just talk to people who are not a part of the Bears beat about Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, what their perspectives are and what this team is building and can it sustain success. I'm curious to hear that from other individuals, coaches, media members, all of that. And once, we get the conversations going, I'll share what I can. But that's also a huge part of what the NFL Scouting Combine is. And one of my favorite parts when, I get to go down there in Indianapolis and, completely change up the sleep schedule, eat schedule, everything. I'm someone too that's very big into a routine. I like to wake up early, go get a lift in, then do everything I need to do. Scouting Combine really changes a lot of that, or forces you to, because there have been times where I've gotten back from being out like at 3 a.m. and then, hey, go interview the prospects at 7, 8. It's brutal, but I also want to try to I'm going to try this. I need to get a workout in every single day that I'm down there. Every single day. If not, I just feel off. I just don't feel like I accomplished or I won't accomplish everything that I need to accomplish, just because a good workout starts my routine off. I feel like I could start the day off, but we'll see how closely I can keep to that schedule while I'm down there in Indianapolis from Tuesday morning all the way till Friday afternoon. But yeah, I'm thinking of there's probably a million other things I can bring up about what is relevant, what needs to be talked about with this Bears team. But those are just some of the things that are on my mind as I'm getting ready. Actually, I haven't gotten ready at all to go down to Indianapolis to cover the NFL Scouting Combine. But let me say this again for people who are just entering or watch this later. Make sure you have the notifications on this YouTube channel for all the video content that'll be out there. I'll be doing some writing as well. I'll be doing his writing as well for different sites. But then the recap YouTube channels where you're going to see a lot of my face, a lot of video content, exclusive interviews, and it should be a really good time. We have a good plan in place to bring out a lot of unique content, and then just Bears updates throughout the entirety of the week. While, me and then Katie, if you know her from the recap, we're going to be down there doing our thing and getting a bunch of content to you guys. So let me know if there are any prospects that you want me to, talk to, ask questions to. Let me know in the comments. You can also just, after this video wraps up here, just put in the comments people that you're curious about. I'll have that access to be there with the prospects to ask questions that obviously you guys can't, but that's what I'm here for. The people, when I was asking for questions during the season to ask players, coaches, someone wrote down Nick, the people's reporter. I don't know all about that, but I do like to utilize my access to give you a window into the NFL world, if that makes sense. So wherever I'm at, if you're curious about something, you want me to ask something, because I think if you're thinking about it, I'm most likely other people are as well. Just probably a good question. And if I have the access to do that, heck yeah, let's go. I'll ask those questions for you guys, just so everybody has a better understanding and gets those questions answered. But let me know, put in the comments, and we can definitely make that happen. But all right, guys, I'm going almost 27 minutes here. I think that's about good enough time to wrap things up. Again, I just wanted to come on here, share some thoughts, things that I was thinking about, and let you know where you can find all the Bears content throughout the rest of this week. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your Monday. Enjoy the rest of the week. Make sure you have, like I said, all of this, the notifications on, like, subscribe. If you haven't already, that'd be great. Helps build this YouTube channel, but there's going to be plenty of great content for the rest of the week. Cannot wait to get down to Indianapolis. Yeah, this is the one time where I'm like, hey, I've been hearing a lot of Bears Indy talk, or I guess Bears in Indiana talk. This is the Bears Indiana talk that I want to talk about, where it's in the NFL scouting combine, and it's here. And there's going to be plenty of things to discuss throughout the rest of the week. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Nicholas Moreano Show. Everyone have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys throughout the rest of this week. So until then, adios. Bend over to your right. What the heck was that? What's up, Bears fans? People want to hear me talk.